You can call me Mystic Mac because I predict these things.
Rei Tsuruya takes on Joshua Van this Saturday at UFC 313 in Las Vegas. And this is going to be a fun fight at 125 pounds. Rei Tsuruya taking this fight on short notice. Going to be about a 2-week notice that he gets into this fight. Joshua Van was initially supposed to take on Bruno Silva, who had to pull out. So interesting circumstances. Rei Tsuruya, he was supposed to fight back on February 8th against Stuart Nickel. However, that fight fizzled out. So good to see him get back in the octagon. However, not on the best circumstances, taking on a guy like Joshua Van. Tsuruya is 10-0, undefeated, coming in off of Dana White's road to the UFC, I think it was. Southpaw, really good takedowns, former Olympic wrestler, so no real mystery what he's going to try to do in this fight. He's going to try to get the takedowns against Joshua Van, get dominant position, look for ground and pound TKOs, look for submissions. Not going to want to take any part in the stand-up with Joshua Van, I don't think. So decent striker, but honestly not the best. Joshua Van, I think, is very elite at that weight class in the striking department. So Joshua Van coming off of 2 wins over Cody Durden and Edgar Charret, and before that lost to Charles Johnson. Joshua Van, I think he gets this one done. Tsuruya is more of a specialist in the wrestling, very young, 22. Joshua Van, I think he's like 23, so both these guys are really young. I just think Joshua Van, he's the actual fighter in this. Tsuruya is a wrestler, he's an athlete, but I think Joshua Van is just an absolute dog. He's got tons of UFC experience already. Almost undefeated. Was winning against Charles Johnson, won the first round, won the second round, ended up getting caught in the third round, but no shame in losing to something like Charles Johnson, who's very good, but was on a 3-fight winning streak before that loss to Charles Johnson, and he now has won his last 2. Ended up beating Zhalgas Zhumagulov, who's a good wrestler, Kevin Borjas, Felipe Bunez. I'm very high on that guy. We saw what he did recently against Jose Johnson, so very talented Joshua Van. He's got very good cardio. Kind of sprawl and brawl type of style. He's looking to keep it on the feet. He's got a lot of pressure that he puts on guys, forward pressure, a lot of power in his hands. Was able to hurt Edgar Charret, was just beating the brakes off of Cody Durden. Cody Durden got the takedown in the first round, but after that, Joshua Van kind of took over, was defending takedowns and just beating up Cody Durden bad. And that's kind of exactly how I see this fight going, and I think that's why the odds are in favor of Joshua Van. Not to mention that it's short notice for Tsuruya, but I could see him losing the first round. Tsuruya maybe having some success with takedowns, getting some positional control to win the first round, but I think after that, Joshua Van is going to be able to defend takedowns and just beat up Tsuruya, who's not on. He's nowhere near as good of a striker as Joshua Van is. They're both roughly the same size. Tsuruya is 5'6" with 68-inch reach advantage. Joshua Van is 5'5" with 65-inch reach advantage. So he's gonna have a 3-inch reach disadvantage, but he has a reach disadvantage against everybody almost. Joshua Van's pretty small for this weight class, but he makes it work. It doesn't cut a lot of weight, still carries tons of power, has really big legs, doesn't really get thrown around in there regardless of how small he is, and because he's not cutting weight, he usually has really good cardio. We didn't see that against Edgar Charret, but again, he took it on short notice, was able to dig deep and win that one. So again, Tsuruya, maybe he wins the first round getting takedowns, but I think as the fight progresses, Joshua Van will be able to defend the takedowns and start beating him up. Like I said, Rei took this on 2 weeks notice. This is also going to be at elevation. A lot of people don't think of Las Vegas at elevation, but it is like 2,000 or so feet above sea level. And Tsuruya, he's at sea level out of Japan. He's going to have to fly across the world on 2 weeks notice to take on an absolute beast in Joshua Van. So not sure if he's going to have the cardio to do that. He did suffer with his cardio in the third round against Carlos Hernandez, training for that with a full camp, and I think Joshua Van would beat Carlos Hernandez. So Van's going to be very aggressive on the feet. Gonna make Tsuruya very uncomfortable, pushing forward, throwing strikes, putting a pace on him, and his forward aggressive pressure and the fact that he can do a lot of damage with his strikes is gonna make Tsuruya very hesitant to push forward, and I think he's gonna be on the back foot, which isn't gonna bid very well for him shooting takedowns. So Tsuruya, very good fighter, reminds me of a Tatsuro Terra with not as good striking, but very young. I think that eventually he can round out his skill set. He's a very good wrestler, chains his submissions together very well, but I just think this is a big step up in competition for him on short notice. Joshua Van's got really good takedown defense. what was it here, 80% takedown defense submissions. Well, was taken down a few times in his career, able to stay safe, get back up to his feet, or at least ride out the round to eventually win. So I'm going to go with Joshua Ban in this one. I think he gets the late fight TKO. I think that he can knock him out on the feet or sprawl him out on the ground when he's panic shooting takedowns and TKO him on the ground. But I do think Joshua Ban gets this one done by KO. Thanks.